Welcome back to the channel, decoders. Welcome back. Hope you guys are all amazing today. Today is March 22nd, 2025. And here is the 322 Skull and Bones decode I promised. So 3 decodes in less than 24 hours for me. So I'm a bit tired, but I'll make it through. I'll have a lot of fun with you guys. So please hit those thumbs up in the chat if you guys can hear me. Let's get that sound check. And then we'll start talking about all the stuff we have to talk about here. Thank you, JK Recon, for the thumbs up. Much love to you. Carolyn Bird, hello. Jeffrey Dahmer's in the chat, hello. Susan Donahue, Joseph Aquaviva, Juan Francis, Geocentric, hello, everyone. Diane, hello. Jamie. Yeah, so we'll give it a few minutes as usual. I'm gonna be have a bit of fun with this decode. Please hit those likes if you're just getting in. And we're going to so I had a decode prepared for you guys already about the number 322. Hello, Coffee Girl. Hello, Sven Dabs. Hello, Decoding Our Reality. Hello, William Sullivan. So I had a decode already prepared about the symbolism before George Foreman died and before the shooting today on 322, or I guess it was like last night, like doesn't matter. It was within hours of 322. And I already had a stream prepared, okay? But what we're going to do first is we're going to talk about the events that happened already today. The Pope was discharged from the hospital today, yes. So, I mean, do you guys remember that the Pope went into the hospital when he was 322? Let's show this, okay? Let's start with that, okay? Because we know it all goes back to the Pope. So the Pope was born in 1936, right? On December 17th. And the Pope, he went into the hospital. Okay, on the day after he turned 32200 days, okay, he went into the hospital, guys. Do you guys understand what I'm showing you here? Like, we're talking about Skull and Bones, the Brotherhood of Death, right? 322. Pope Francis goes into the hospital after he turned 32201. We know how big the 201 is with Pope Francis. His name equals 201. He's the first Jesuit pope. Jesuit order equals 201. So he went in the hospital on that day, 32201. Okay? It's the perfect number for a Jesuit skull and bones ritual. Now, the Pope is being released on 322. So think about that, 322, and today the Pope is 32238 days old, guys. Okay, he's being released today from death. Think about that, the symbolism here. 32238. Okay, what's that? Death. Death equals 38, guys. In just the basic gematria cipher, death equals 38. So the Pope and the number of death for the skull and bones is 322. So you have the 322 and you have the 38. Death equals 38, 322 skull and bones, okay? How perfect, man. Now, tomorrow he will be 97 days after his birthday. And 97 is death. 97 is death. Brotherhood of death. Let me show you that. Hold on. Brotherhood of death equals 97. Death equals 97. So a big number with death and the Brotherhood of death Tomorrow will be 97 days after the Pope's birthday, okay? Supposedly he was released today. So let's just verify that. I think he was released today. Pope Francis. I mean, it's saying he's supposed to be tomorrow, but I don't know if it's today or tomorrow, but some articles are saying he's released. But either way, the news is breaking that Pope Francis will be released, right? 322. He's 322, 38 days old, right? Skull and Bones 322. He went into the hospital after he turned 3. I mean, guys, is this not the most obviously wild stuff you've ever seen? Think about what we're seeing them do here. The Pope turns 322. He goes into the hospital after he turns 322, and then he gets released on the date 322, all connected to death. And again, tomorrow and the next day will be 97 days after his birthday. Brotherhood of death. Death equals 97. Okay. So that's a good place to start. Okay. So the Pope is released from the hospital when he's 322, 38 days old, right? That's the first big thing about today, right? And of course, death is 38, right? So you got the perfect number here. You got the 322 skull and bones, and you got the death number. It's perfect. Now, today's news is all about George Foreman, which I covered in the video earlier today. If you guys didn't see that video, make sure you guys check it out. George Foreman died, right? Yesterday, but the news is breaking today on 322. And we're talking about the 4 horsemen, right? And what is the last horseman? Let's ask ChatGPT. What is the last horseman in Bible? The last horseman of the Foreman, do you get it? Foreman is the pale horse. And what does he bring? Death. Okay. But the Pope is being released when he's 322, 38 days old. 322 is skull and bones, and death is 38. Today, George Foreman is reported to be dead. The 4 horsemen, which ends with death. Well, all death is essentially rebirth, right? Death and rebirth. But yeah, the 4th horseman, the Foreman, is the death. The last one is death. So there you go. I can't believe I only have 108 people in the chat right now, man. I can't believe that more people are not watching these videos nowadays. I guess people are just over it. I understand it. I understand it. But I'm hoping that I'll get a bit more of an audience because I have a lot to share here. There's a whole plethora of stuff I want to share in this video, and it's all going to be mind-blowing, okay? Okay, so George Foreman dead, the 4 horsemen. And then we have news of a shooting in Las Cruces, New Mexico. And Las Cruces means the cross, the crosses. And look how many people they were reporting died. 3 dead, 14 injured. 3 dead, 14 injured. Guys, we just had a blood moon on 3/14, okay? And now they're saying that on Skull and Bones Day, there's a shooting where 3 are dead and 14 are injured. But let me show you. Now, this is probably the most mind-blowing part of this decode, and I just found it before we went live. So hold your hats for this one, guys. You guys want to see why this shooting happened on today? Somebody's saying that 322 equals 314. That's a good one. Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that. That's a good one. 322 equals 314. So there's three dead and 14 injured on 322. That's, I mean, it happened yesterday, but they're reporting it today. Yeah, the cross of the equinox, yeah. All right, so La Cruces, there's 314, there's 3 dead, 14 injured, okay? So what if I told you there was a shooting in this same city on a blood moon in 1990? Hold your breath for this one, guys. This is craziness. What I'm about ready to show you is craziness and so obvious. There was another shooting in La Cruces at a bowling alley on February 10th, 1990. And today we have another shooting in La Cruces. And guess how many days and weeks is in between the two? Let's go to the slide. Let's go. All right. This is undeniable. If you guys would share one thing, share this. Guys, there was a shooting February 10th, 1990 on a blood moon in La Cruces, New Mexico. Now, today on 322, there's a shooting in La Cruces, 1832 weeks after the last one. Guys, when was the founding year of Skull and Bones? Guys, I just want to just scream this to the like people standing there, like, what is this, man? Like, come on. 1832 weeks exactly, my friends. That's the founding year. When was Skull and Bones founded? 1832. The shooting today was on 322, 1832 weeks after their last shooting, which was on a blood moon. And this one is saying 314 dead, 3 killed, 14 dead, which connects to a blood moon we just had. Okay? Yeah, you guys are more than welcome to share this. I don't need any credit either. This just needs to be shared. Like, what is the chance of that? Now, look at this. This is also interesting. Let's type in the name of the city, La Cruces, New Mexico. Now, if this really came out like I hoped it would, this would be even more mind-blowing. But let me just show you how close this was to being an absolutely astronomical mind blow. Look at the gematria of Las Cruces, New Mexico. It equals 1834. Man, if that was just 2 less, man. 1832 weeks between their shootings, the founding year of Skull and Bones. 1834 is the gematria of the city. Now, there is something you could say that could make this work in Freemasonry. Let's go over it. In Freemasonry, there is a rule of Colel. What does the rule of Colel mean in gematria? This allows for the numerical adjustment of +1 or -1 when comparing values. This rule is often applied to account for slight variations or letter substitutions. So what does ChatGPT tell me? I asked ChatGPT, do you think that using this number, 1834, using the rule of Colel, could become an 1832, like the amount of weeks between the shooting on the blood moon to the shooting today, okay? So what did ChatGPT tell me? By the rule of Colel, you can add 1 to 1832, making it 1833. By the rule of Colel, you can subtract 1 from 1834, making it 1833. Guys, why is that important? So I think it's important because if you measure from the last shooting, it's the 1833rd week since the last shooting, okay? And again, rule of Colel, I don't often use it, but it is interesting. I'm not saying that we even need that, okay? This in itself is enough. We don't need the rule of Colel, but look how interesting it would have been It is a legit practice. I mean, ChatGPT even says you could do this. Look at what ChatGPT says, guys. So it's not just me saying that, but the gematria of Le Cruces is 1834, which is, again, 2 off from 1832. So, again, what do you guys think? Let me hear what you guys think. Is that not mind-blowing? Like, 1832 weeks after their last shooting on a blood moon. And this one was a big one. There's actually a Wikipedia page for this shooting, 1832 weeks ago. Yeah, so I don't know. This one just got me. Before the stream started, I was like, wow, are you kidding me? I'm not putting my faith in the accuracy of ChatGPT at all, trust me. But, I mean, when you're asking it about the rule of Colel, I mean, even Derek from Gematinator said that it's a possible type. You could possibly do that. Again, I'm not saying you guys can just write this from your mind. But, again, La Cruces, New Mexico equals 1834. So I'm wondering what happens 1834 weeks after, which would be 2 weeks from now. But it doesn't matter. So this is the big one, 1832 weeks. You guys can share that if you want. All right, so let's go. I didn't really look any more into it because I think that pretty much seals the deal, okay? First of all, look at La Cruces, New Mexico. It equals Isus hominum Salvatore. Gosh, I can never spell this. Min. So notice how the Jesuit motto, Isus hominum Salvatore, equals 274. Of course, the Pope is Jesuit. He's getting out of the hospital today. And you notice that the city, the name of the city is 274. Well, Isus hominum Salvatore, 274. La Cruces, New Mexico, 274. The shooting is La Cruces. Now, look at this. I am become death equals 274. Well, when Oppenheimer quoted his nuclear bomb, dropped his nuclear bomb, he said, I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. The phrase I am become death equals 274, like La Cruces, New Mexico. Now, let's see something here. Trinity test. Guys, it was in New Mexico. That's what I thought. Can you believe it? Guys, wake up. The Trinity test, the nuclear bomb test, was in New Mexico. Robert Oppenheimer said, I am become death. That equals La Cruces, New Mexico, who just had a shooting today on the day of the Brotherhood of Death. Now, guess how many days it was from the release of Oppenheimer movie? Let's look at this. The Oppenheimer movie released on 7/21. Guys, it's 20 months and 2 days since the release of the Oppenheimer movie. Why is that important to today? Because Skull and Bones, the Brotherhood of Death, equals 202. Today is 20 months and 2 days since Oppenheimer movie released. Oppenheimer said, I am become death. I am become death equals La Cruces, New Mexico. Skull and Bones equals George Foreman, who just died, and Donald John Trump. Okay. So, yeah, that's just the connection between the Trinity test, which happened in New Mexico. And we just had a shooting in New Mexico today. So I think that's what it's pointing to. Yeah, the New Mexico flag for the cardinal directions. Yeah. Man, Dr. Savage is bringing the astrology stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that, Joseph. Car show shooting equals 76. Yeah. So you guys see how it was a car show shooting? There was a car show shooting when we had the death of George Foreman at 76, and car show shooting equals 76. I am become death 76. Skull and Bones 76. George Foreman had 76 wins. The Georgia Guidestones fell on George W. Bush's birthday on 7/6 when he turned 76. I mean, we know how big this 76 is. They love this number. Barack Obama equals 76. Leave the world behind. So, you know, all these 76s, very important. But I talked about the 76s earlier today. Yeah. Let's see. Also, something interesting. You guys know how I've been showing. Look at George Foreman versus Muhammad Ali. That was one of his most famous fights. Notice how it equals 266. Well, Pope Francis is the 266th Pope. Okay. Now, also, if you go to the very trusty cipher, if you go to the trusty Aleister Crowley cipher, which I've proven is being used, I've proven this cipher is being used right now with Lady Gaga and everything. Look at this. George Foreman versus Muhammad Ali, which was one of the most famous fights, equals 322. Let me see if I can find that here. Yeah, right here. The Rumble in the Jungle was also titled George Foreman versus Muhammad Ali. That equals 322 in Aleister Crowley's Kubala. 76 gas station has a big orange sun, yeah. Yeah, Israel's 76 right now. That's a good addition. I think that's it. We're going to talk more about that when I finish this presentation, but notice this movie came out in 2023. The reverse 223, like Skull and Bones. Skull and Crossbones equals 223. Which is, of course, the backwards 322. Today can also be written 223. Yeah, but let's jump into the symbolism of the Knights Templar and the Skull and Bones. Let's get this presentation done with, and then we'll talk a bit more about these other things. Yep. All right, so we're going to take you through the symbolism that these people put out into the world. I'm going to show you how they use a symbol to represent the Skull and Bones and the Knights Templar, how the Knights Templar essentially are Skull and Bones. So let's just dig into it, all right? So first of all, the Knights Templar, okay? They ran from the year 1118 to 1312, okay? Notice that the years active, it says 1118, and it says their end date was March 22nd. So if that doesn't already clue you in about the 322 code, I don't know what will. So their end date is literally listed on Wikipedia as March 22nd, today. Okay? Allegedly. So that's the first thing. The Knights Templar ended on 322, apparently. Okay? Now, here is a picture of a grave of a Knights Templar in Scotland. Okay? And you can find other pictures of these. But notice that the Templar grave has the skull and crossbones, because there is a theory that the skull and crossbones was inspired by burial practices of the Knights Templar, particularly the way the Templars were said to have buried their dead with the skull and crossbones. Okay. So not only did they end their order supposedly on 322, they also buried their dead with the skull and crossbones, apparently, which is the number of the Brotherhood of Death with the skull and crossbones. Well, This is where I've never seen anyone show this, but this clearly points us to what this is talking about. The Knights Templar, if you take their most common names, okay? So here it is. The Knights Templar is the most common name, and Skull and Bones is the most common name, right? So look at what happens when you combine the names of these two secret societies. Knights Templar, Skull and Bones equals 322, guys. Yeah, sounds like they just changed the name. Yeah, right. But isn't that mind-blowing, guys? Has anyone ever shown that? Did anyone know that? Because I've never seen anyone say that. I've never seen anyone say that when you combine the names of Knights Templar and Skull and Bones, you get 322 in basic simple gematria. Okay? And again, the ending date of the Skull and Knights Templar is 322. Okay? Wait, so let's see how many years it's been since they ended to today, because today would be the anniversary. Hold on. Guys, look. Isn't that interesting? Today would be 713 years since they supposedly ended today, the Knights Templar. What happened on 713 last year? Donald Trump on 713? 6886? Where do you see that? Wait, where do you see that? I don't see that. Am I missing a 6886? Yeah, but I mean, the Templar supposedly ended exactly 713 years ago today. So that's Trump's earache. Yeah. All right, back to it. But yeah, when you add the two secret societies, Knights Templar, Skull and Bones, you get 322. They buried their dead. They buried their dead with the Skull and Bones, apparently. All right. So look at this, guys. Not only did they supposedly end their order on 322, the year they started is 1118. Well, that's like a date, 1118. Well, what happens when you go to 1118 on the calendar? 1118 is the 322nd day of the year. So do you see how it's coded? They ended their date on 322, and the first year they started was 1118. 1118 is the 322 day of the year. This is the Knights Templar we're talking about. Okay? How about that? What a perfect year to start, connecting with the calendar being the 322 day of the year. What a perfect day to end. So here's where the decode. I'm going to show you a clear symbol of a guy who combines the Knights Templar, okay? The Knights Templar and the Skull and Bones. I'm going to show you a clear symbol of this in the WWE. The COO, the operating officer who used to be a wrestler, Triple H, or Paul Michael Levesque. Okay? So let's go through this slowly here, and let me break down all the different ways that Paul Michael Levesque combines the Knights Templar and the Skull and Bones. So let's look at it. So Paul Michael Levesque, born July 27, 1969, better known as Triple H, is an American businessman and executive and former wrestler. He is signed to WWE, where he works as a chief content officer. All right, so first of all, look at Triple H's symbol. It is the Templar cross, essentially. And you can see that during WrestleMania one year, he came out dressed in a skull. Okay. So a skull with the Knights Templar. So you have your Skull and Bones and you have your Knights Templar. Okay, I just told you they combine these two societies, right? Combine them, you get 322. And notice how similar he looks to the Templar. You know, he's wearing a mask, except for he's wearing a skull, right? Look at the gematria of Triple H, okay? Triple H equals knights, okay, in almost all ciphers. And notice the 88s here. These are going to be important, the 88s. Triple H equals 88. Well, Triple H is 888. And his name equals 38, and 38 could be 3 eighths. So equals 88 equals 38, like 3 eighths. And his name literally means Triple H, which is 888. Okay? Huge Trump connection there. So here's the second layer. Paul, nowadays he goes by Paul Triple H Levesque. Okay? This is how he is referred to on most of the different shows. They refer to him nowadays as Paul Triple H Levesque. Guys, Paul Triple H Levesque equals 244. Now, this is a huge number with the Knights Templar because their full name is Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon. Okay, right here. That equals 244. Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon equals 244. Paul Triple H Levesque, 244. Okay. Now, the XRP lawsuit just ended. This is a good time to take a break from this. And let me show you how this number just happened. Give it 1 second to load, guys. 1 second. All right, so you guys know I've been talking a lot about the Ripple XRP lawsuit, right? For many years now. It went on for 4 years. Okay, so finally the lawsuit completely ended, all right? And the guy who was defending himself in court was Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple XRP. Now, his lawyer was Matthew Solomon. And Matthew Solomon is a perfect match to Solomon's Temple. Now, Solomon's Temple is the temple that's at the end of the name of the Knights Templar, Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon. But yes, Solomon's Temple equals Matthew Solomon in all ciphers. Now, Brad Garlinghouse in the Riddlers online was depicted as a knight. You see right here, this is a riddle online of Brad Garlinghouse depicted as a knight. Okay, his lawyer was Matthew Solomon, like Solomon's Temple. He was depicted as a knight. Now let me show you how long this case lasted. So the case finally ended on 3/19, and guess how many days it ended? It lasted for 1549 days. That's the 244th prime number. Why is that important, guys? Why did the case last for 244 prime number days? That's because the gematria of the Knights Templar is 244. Okay? And again, he was depicted as a knight. Okay? So that's just a clear I just wanted to go over this story real fast because this just happened a few days ago. Okay? So let's get back to the Triple H thing. So again, Triple H has that 244, like the full name of the Templars. Now, we're going to go through all of Triple H's nicknames, and we're going to build a story here. So, guys, you know how I like to do decodes. I like to build a story. So let's build this story. Let's see what they're telling us. So here's a picture. If you go to the chess Wikipedia and you scroll down, you're going to see a picture of Knights Templar playing chess. This is important, guys. This will be important as we go through. Think of the chess symbolism. All right, so let's go through the nicknames of Triple H. His first nickname is The Game. The Game. His second nickname is the Cerebral Assassin. Cerebral means mind. What do you need to win at chess, guys? So think of the game as chess, right? think of the cerebral assassin as being an expert mental chess player, okay? His other nickname is the King of Kings. Now, what is the main piece on the chessboard that needs to be protected? The king. So you have the game, which is chess. You need a mind like a cerebral assassin. What does cerebral assassin mean? It means you're strategic, you're ruthless, and you're calculated. A good chess player needs to be a cerebral assassin, okay? Now, the King of Kings is the king on the chessboard, okay? Now, he was also known as the Connecticut Blue Blood. I'm going to talk about that too. So the first connection I want to make here is his nickname is the Cerebral Assassin. A cerebral means to be brain intelligence or deep thinking. An assassin means to be calculated, a killer who eliminates his opponents with precision. Okay? When you're playing a game of chess, you must be calculated. You must be able to play the game with precision. You must be able to eliminate your opponents with precision. Otherwise, you're going to lose. You have to make the right moves. Okay? The cerebral assassin. And in order to win, you have to protect your king. And why is he also known as the King of Kings? Another reference to the king. And what is on top, guys? Let me get some mind blowns, guys. What is on top of the king in the game of chess? It's the Templar, it's the cross. Literally the king. Here's the king on the chessboard, right? So he's the cerebral assassin because he can make moves calculated and eliminate his opponents with precision, okay? He's the King of Kings because he represents the king on the chessboard, the most important piece, right? Now look at his lyrics for his song. Behold the King of Kings. On your knees, dog. All hail, bow down to the king, bow down to the king. The king grinned red as he walked from the place where the traitor lost both his name and his face. The halls of the corridor stinging in blood, he tasted his grin and tasted good. The king took his head. Okay? So that's his lyrics. All right, so we've already made the connection to his king connection. So let's connect the other pieces on the chessboard. Okay? The name Levesque, which is his real last name, means bishop. So he's known as the King of Kings. His real last name is Levesque, which means bishop. And he wears the Templar cross, which is the knights. Okay, so now we have three pieces on the chessboard. We have the king, we have the bishop, and we have the knight. Now look at the gematria, and look at what it says here. It says while Levesque isn't known as a Templar surname, it means bishop, which connects to the church, which had strong ties to the Templars. Okay, so Triple H's name means bishop. And he has the Templar cross, the Knights Templar, and he's the King of Kings, right? And look at what knights and bishops and Triple H equals. Like, look at that. That's a perfect match. Let me make that a bit bigger here. So knights equals bishops. And remember, his last name means bishop, and there's two bishops on a chessboard. There's two knights on a chessboard. That's why they're plural here. There's two knights, there's two bishops, okay? Triple H equals bishops equals knights in almost all ciphers. It's like literally a perfect match. So here's your knights, here's your bishops. So let's read what his next, his other song is about. Remember, he has the song called King of Kings. But he has a song also called The Game. What game are we talking about here, guys? It's the game of chess. The people that run the world play a game of chess. They're calculated, they're precision. But the creator, the ultimate reality, is way more precision than these people. Let's put it that way. But look at the lyrics. the game. It's time to play the game, time to play the game. It's all about the game and how you play it. It's all about control. And if you can take it, it's all about debt. And if you can pay it, it's all about pain and who's going to make it. I am the game. You don't want to play me. I am control. No way you can change me. I'm heavy debt. No way you can pay me. I am the pain, and I know you can't take me. So, again, the game, the chessboard. His name means bishop. He wears the Knights Templar cross, knights. Yeah, I'm getting to that. A chessboard has 8x8. I'm getting to that. You guys are getting a bit ahead of me here. All right, so here we go. Remember, Triple H equals 88, like bishops, like knights. Chess is an abstract strategy board game for 2 players, which involves no hidden information and no elements of chance. It is played on a square game board called a chessboard containing 64 squares. Guys, it's an 8x8 grid, okay? Triple H is the game, right? He's the chessboard. So the chessboard has an 8x8 grid. It has 16 pieces, and it has 1 king, 1 queen, 2 rooks. The only thing I didn't find connection to Triple H is the rooks. So if anyone can see a rook connection, please let me know. But the bishop is his last name is Bishop, means bishop. He has the Knights Templar cross. He's the king of kings. He has a queen by his side. His wife, Stephanie McMahon, is his queen. And the 2 rooks, I didn't find a connection with Triple H and the rooks. Yeah, rooks are castles. So, yeah, I guess a king lives in a castle. So I don't know how else you can symbolize that with this guy. But yeah, so there's an 8x8 grid. Triple H equals 88. Now, there's 8 pawns. There's 8 pawns on the chessboard. 8 pawns, and there's 8 other pieces. So the king, the queen, the rooks, the bishops, and the knights all add up to 8. So you guys see how it's all about the 88s, man? It's an 8x8 grid. It has the 8 pawns and the 8 other pieces, right? Bishops equals 88, knights equals 88, Triple H equals 88. So now we need to make the skull and bones connection, okay? Because I told you in the beginning of the decode, skull and bones is essentially the modern day Knights Templar. So what if I told you that in the beginning of his career, Triple H was known as the Connecticut Blue Blood? So not only does he have all this stuff to the Knights Templar and the chessboard, right? And don't forget, I showed you a picture of the Knights Templar playing chess right here. And the Templar cross is essentially on top of the king. But anyway, Triple H's original name was the Connecticut Blue Blood. Guys, Connecticut is where Skull and Bones is located. So not only does he have all the Knights Templar, not only does he wear a Skull and Bones and a Knights Templar, I mean, it's right here in his picture, guys. There's the Knights Templar, there's the Skull and Bones, right there, both in one picture, right? So not only does he have the Templar cross and the Skull and Bones logo, he was originally called the Connecticut Blue Blood. That's where Skull and Bones is. And where is the headquarters of WWE, where he runs now? He runs it. He used to be a wrestler. Now he runs the company, essentially. Where's that located? In Connecticut. So WWE located in Connecticut, Skull and Bones in Connecticut, and Triple H is the Connecticut Blue Blood. And he's whenever they announce his name, they always say he's from Connecticut. Now look at this picture from a few days ago, guys. If you don't want to see symbolism at its highest form, then look at this. So after this whole decode, I showed you how Triple H is the Knights Templar and the Skull and Bones. Look at how he's shaking the hands of these 2 men who just won the championship 7 days ago. Drop the mic here. This just happened 7 days ago, guys. Look how he's shaking their hands. Yeah, he's got 7.6 million followers. How about that, guys? How about that? Skull and Bones, 76. But look, I mean, why do you who shakes hands like that? Here's his skull, here's his crossbones. Okay? I mean, it's right there. I mean, this just blew my mind. Like, look at that. Look at that perfect pose for the perfect man who has the perfect skull and bones and the perfect Knights Templar. I mean, and he just happens to do that handshake. Yeah, the Masons. Well, the Masons are all connected to this too. The Scottish Rite, they're always using the chessboard or the checkerboard, right? Same thing. All goes back to the Jesuits too. It's all connected, guys. And don't forget what the shooting was today, guys. The shooting happened in Cruces. What's that mean? It means the crosses. Like the crossbones, man. Why was there a shooting on Skull and Bones Day? Right? Or it was actually late last night. But why are they reporting a shooting on Skull and Bones Day in a city called the Crosses? The crossbones, guys. And again, the 76 here. Why does Triple H have 7.6 followers? Right here. Because Skull and Bones, 76. Donald John Trump, 76. I Am Become Death, 76. There was a car show shooting today, equals 76. Okay. Let me just see what his full name equals. Hold on. I thought maybe his name had a his full name had a connection. Well, look at that. I mean, that's interesting because George Foreman died 81 days after his last fight. Paul Levesque equals 60. There it is. Look at that. His name is Paul Levesque, right? Look at that. There it is. George Foreman equals Paul Levesque, man. 60, like Donald Trump. And again, he has 7.6, and George Foreman just died at 76. Yeah, so there's huge Donald Trump connections here, guys. I mean, Triple H means 888. Right? So, and Donald J. Trump equals 888. I'm surprised he's not following 1229. Oh, he's almost at 1229 posts. 1229 is the 201st prime number. All right, so we got a few more slides, guys, and then we're done. So again, I showed you, here's a Knights Templar grave with the skull and crossbones. Triple H has the Knights Templar cross with the skull and crossbones. Now look at this. Look at the Latin phrase on his symbol. Omnis spies de morte sumni. Guys, that equals 322, like Paul Triple H Levesque. That's how he goes by nowadays. Paul Triple H Levesque equals 322. Just like his phrase on his symbol, omnis spies de morte sunt equals 322. Now, what does omnes spies de morte sunt mean? Let me see if I can just type it in. Omnes. What is it? I can never remember this Latin stuff, man. Omnis spes de morte sunt. Spes de morte sunt. All right, so here it is. Omnis spes de morte sunt. His phrase, all hope is dead, guys. There you go. Your brotherhood of death. All hope is dead. That's what his phrase equals. That's what it means. And the phrase itself equals 322, man. All hope is dead. Now remember, in Leave the World Behind, they say that hope begins in the dark. What did Barack Obama run on? He ran on hope. Barack Obama ran on hope, but Triple H is saying all hope is dead. What is the Jubilee year all about this year? Is the Catholic Jubilee, is the 2025 Catholic Jubilee about hope? Yes, the 2025 Catholic Jubilee is very much centered around hope, the Pilgrims of Hope. So this whole year is about hope with the Catholic Church, the Jubilee year, okay? Now, what does hope equal? Again, Triple H's phrase means all hope is dead. Hope equals 64, guys. How many squares on a chessboard? 64. What is the full? See if I can find it. Knights Templar. The full name of the Knights Templar equals 604. Okay. All right, so 604. Wait, Israel equals 64. Kill equals 64. Talking about Brotherhood of Death. Okay, so let's just look at the 64s. So again, you have the Knights Templar's full name equals 604, right? In the same cipher as Israel equals 64, like kill, like hope equals 64. Triple H's phrase means all hope is dead, okay? Now, 64, yeah, the Antichrist equals 64 and Barack Hussein Obama equals 64. That goes back to the chessboard. But what does this really go back to, guys? What is the 8x8 grid? What planet has the 8x8 grid? Let me just type it in. What planet magic square is 8x8? Here, it all goes back to this, guys. It all goes back to good old Mercury, man. The 8x8 magic square is Mercury. It consists of 1 to 64. It represents intelligence, communication, speed, and wisdom. So the chessboard is a Mercury board. How about that? So why do you think Mercury has an 88-day orbit? Why do you think all this stuff happens, plane crashes happen on Trump's Mercury birthday? Because Trump equals 88. 8 times 8 is what, guys? 8 times 8 equals 64. Right? So there you go. I'm just reading the comments here, but yeah, this all goes back to Mercury, who has the 8x8 grid, right? But one last slide. We're almost done. All right. So again, Paul Triple H Levesque equals 322 in the same cipher as the Latin all hope is gone. And look at this, guys. He's born 3 months and 22 days before the 322 day of the year, which is 1118. And 1118 is the year the Knights Templar were founded. 1118 is the 322 day of the year. Triple H was born 3 months and 22 days before the 322 day of the year. And this is the last slide, and this brings it all together with what I started this decode about, the Pope turning 322 and going into the hospital, and now on 322, they're saying he's leaving the hospital. And look how many days apart Triple H and Pope Francis are born. How about that, man? Pope Francis is born 32 years, 223 days before Triple H. That's 322, 223, forward and backwards. And look at Triple H's nickname, guys. What is Triple H's nickname? King of Kings equals Pope Francis in all ciphers. King of Kings equals Pope Francis in all ciphers, guys. That's Triple H's nickname. So you put all that together, you put it all together, and you get this. He's from Connecticut, Skull and Bones, Connecticut. He's the chessboard. He's the king. His name means bishop. There's bishops. He wears the Knights Templar, like the knights on the chessboard. He's the king on the board. He's the cerebral assassin. A cerebral assassin is essentially a chess player. And don't forget, the Knights Templar were a military order. They were strategic. They're playing chess with our reality. Our reality is nothing but a game. In Triple H's song, it says, it's all about the game and how you play it. This all goes back to the game of life, guys, because at the end of the day, the game, again, Triple H's nickname equals 59, right? The game of life equals 59. King of Kings equals 59. Pope Francis equals 59. And slave equals 59. Are you a slave to the game? This connects back to what happened today with the slave stuff, okay? But let me just bring up all the 59s one more time. So the game equals 59. The game of life equals 59. Are you a slave to the game of life? Are you being Truman? What does the Truman Show equal? Oh, look at that, guys. It equals 59. The Truman Show equals 59, like game of life, like the game, like Pope Francis, like slave. Truman was a slave until he realized that he was being used. And then he was able to walk out the door, right? Open up the mind, walk out the door, which is Christ. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I think Triple H even has more connections, but the point is there was more 59s I wanted to talk about, but I can't even remember them now. But yeah. So the 59, why is that so important? Because 59 is the 17th prime number. And again, don't forget Freemasonry was founded in 1717. Yeah, the Barack Obama, you know, his nickname was Renegade, which equals 59. That goes with the slave symbolism. Oh, I swear there was other 59s I forgot, man. Let me see if I can remember some of these. Oh yeah, Elvis Presley. Another huge symbol that we talk about often, Elvis Presley 59. I'm not going to bore you guys with that, but I want to go back to the chess theme real fast. Chess equals sun. We'll just go with the 54. So chess equals sun. So there is a sun connection here, but I don't know. I don't want to go too far. You guys got the gist of the skull and bone stuff. You guys got the gist of the chessboard, the game of life that we're all living in. And don't forget this one that started out the decode. 1832 weeks from the last shooting in La Crosse, the Cruces, New Mexico, to the today's shooting in La Crosse, New Mexico on 322. The Skull and Bones Order 322 was founded in 1832. It was 1832 weeks exactly from their last massacre to this one. Wow. That just blew my mind. All right, I'm going to the chat here. Whew, boy, guys, what a day for me, man. Oh, I got to take my... Man, I'm sweating like a... Whew. You guys know I put all my heart and soul into this, because if you guys knew how much I'm sweating right now from just talking to you guys. Whew. Anyways, it's not even warm in here. I don't know why I'm sweating so much. But yeah, it's 3 decodes in one day, so I'm a bit tired, but a lot of brain energy, I guess. You can sweat from thinking. It's true, you can sweat from thinking. Yeah, well, first of all, decode your reality. He says, I wish I knew the date Skull and Bones was founded. Well, I will tell you that it's somewhere in between February. It's somewhere in February, I think, because I think they just changed it to this new year. They just changed it to 193. Thank you guys so much for the comments. I put a lot into this today, these decodes, so I appreciate those. Hello to Paul. If you guys were on last night, Paul shared an amazing decode, personal decode for me. Make sure you guys go check out his channel. Make sure you guys go check out Decoding Our Realities channel. Thank you, Decoding Our Reality, for your kind words. I appreciate you. Great work as always. Thank you, Mama Sari. Much love to you. Thank you so much for the compliments. Brandon Jones, hello. Or Brandon Joseph, hello. Mr. S. Thank you, Joseph. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Joseph Aquaviva 2222. Go check out his video. Stay hydrated. Yep, I'm staying hydrated. I drink lemon water all day, guys. I stay hydrated. I love lemon water. I just drink lemon water all day. Another War Machine says, please say hi to my wife, Rhonda. She's half listening. It will freak her out. Wish her a happy Skull and Bones Day from me. Oh, well, you heard it. You heard it, Rhonda. Happy Skull and Bones Day from another War Machine. Oh, man. Thank you, Melinda. I appreciate you. I appreciate that very much. Joseph's got a decode for you guys tomorrow on the Mexico shooting. The New Mexico shooting. All right. Does anyone have anything else to share? Don't forget to hit those like buttons, guys. I always appreciate that. You guys know that. Because I have, maybe we can get this video out to people. Because Let me know in the chat. Give me a thumbs up. Do you guys think I broke the code on Triple H and the Knights Templar and the Skull and Bones? I think I broke it out of the water, man. Like, how can you even? If someone saw this, they would only have to be like completely out of their mind to not understand what I showed there. I didn't even use a lot of gematria. I didn't even need gematria, really, but thank you guys for the thumbs up. You guys know why I love wrestling so much, right? Because they make it so obvious, man. I mean, what I showed you here is so obvious, right? Triple H in every aspect. So yeah, it's wrestling just makes it super obvious. That's why I love it so much. I don't even watch wrestling much. I just like to decode it because it makes it like super obvious. Thank you to the 171 of you in here. YouTube bumped me out of the stream yesterday and had your stream and channel blocked under private. Yeah, I don't know what's going on in my channel. They don't like it sometimes when I post. Oh, guess what? I got a decode for you guys on the 47th problem of Euclid. I got another decode coming. Another wrestling decode. And I'm going to blow this one out of the water too, guys. Who wants to see my King Charles, Cody Rhodes, Freemasonry, 47th problem of Euclid decode very soon? Let me know, because I'll put that one out in the next week or so as well. And don't forget, we have we have Cody Rhodes versus John Cena in Las Vegas, and you play lots of games in Las Vegas. Also, something I found really interesting. Look at the word card. Thank you, guys. Everyone's saying you guys want to see it soon. Yeah, I'll release it in the next week or so. Look at the word card and look at the word game. Card game equals I mean, I think a lot of you already know that, but card and game equals exactly the same. Card game. And look at card game equals God. Look. How about that? Card, game, and God. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because WrestleMania 41 has the cards on it. You see, it's going to be all about games, cards. So all right, guys. Well, we'll start wrapping it up. I think I'm running out of energy now. But make sure you guys hit those likes on the way out. Thank you guys so much for watching and liking and subscribing and everything that you guys do on a consistent basis. And make sure you guys go check out all the other great channels in the community. And with that, we will wrap this up for today. And we'll see you guys probably like, depending on what happens, we'll see you guys probably like, I'm probably going to take tomorrow off. So we'll see you guys on Monday. But until then, much love to you all. I love you all so much. And we'll see you guys in the next video. God bless.